Hello everybody and welcome to my new apartment. I am so excited to finally show you the fruits of a lot of labor, a lot of help from other people. And I have to start by saying thank you so much for being patient while I took more or less 2 months off from making videos to get through a bunch of craziness happening at work and also get myself moved. I got through it all. We got through it all. Everything went awesome. I helped televise an election. I helped run a telethon. I flew halfway across the country. I helped a relative move, and I moved myself. So it's been a crazy couple of months, but things have finally settled, and I am so excited to show you guys my new living space. We are here. It is awesome. It is not 100% finished yet, but it's if I waited to make this video until it was 100% finished, we'd be into 2023 before it was ready. So I'm going to show you it as it is. It's not perfect, but I think it's good enough. And I don't think you guys will mind at all. We are here in the living room right now. And the first thing you notice is there's a lot of closet space. There's actually a few closets in this place versus one closet in the bedroom at the old place. So it's pretty sweet. This closet's being well used, you can see already. And then once again, like the last place, it's an open concept living room and kitchen, but I've kind of got it separated off. So this is the living room area. The blue couch lives to see another apartment. This is the second time that it's moved, the third apartment that I've had it in since I bought it. This chair came with the place. I lovingly call it my dad chair. It's surprisingly comfortable, even though it's not too big, but I fit in it well. It's a little bit low to the ground, but yeah, I like it. It swivels. It's very comfortable, and I like it a lot. So you'll notice that for the first time in, well, for as long as I've had normal apartments, for the first time ever, no coffee table in front of the couch. I tried it. I didn't like it. I like this sort of open floor space. I've dealt with, for basically as long as I've lived on my own, I've dealt with really cramped spaces. And that's mostly my fault just because I have a lot of stuff. But I'm really digging the openness here, and I think I want to keep it that way. So no coffee table here. But what I do have is a coffee table along this wall. And as you can see, the white trash hi-fi stack has been revived on this coffee table along this wall, including a new component that you guys have never seen before. So there's going to be a video made. In the last apartment, I always planned to make a video of the white trash hi-fi stack, and I never got to it. So hopefully that'll happen in the near future with this iteration. But I really like how it's all set up on this coffee table. I've got, cassette bins and box of records and other stuff on the bottom. And speakers up on the ledge. Every room has this ledge on the wall. And I love it. Very, very nice. Very convenient. So there's that. This is a blacklight poster I bought about 1.5 years ago. And it's beautiful. I love it. And if you look up here, you'll notice this place has a drop ceiling. This entire apartment has a drop ceiling. And that's so awesome because it makes it really convenient for hanging stuff up. It's incredibly versatile. First of all, you'll notice, oh yeah, I busted out the incandescent Christmas lights. And I went on Amazon, and you can buy these drop ceiling hooks. $20 for 50 pairs or something like that. So they've come in great use, hanging up my Christmas lights. But I've also hung up this fluorescent light fixture. This is the one that in the old apartment was above my computer desk. And I've got a black light bulb in it. And if I just turn off the overhead light here and turn this on, heck yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. So that's what I've got going on here. Is it the prettiest installation in the world? No. Is it okay for what it achieves? I think so. I don't think it's too obtuse. I think any visitor that comes in here will look at this and say, yep, this is Flo's apartment. But I've done my best, you know. I've utilized the hooks to run the cord along the wall at right angles, and then it comes down behind this speaker and down there. And I've got one of my 3 1990s computer surge protector thingies on this side table to plug into. So yeah, that's what we've got going on here. Speaking of overhead lights, so everywhere in this apartment is unfortunately boob lights. Not even the dual socket variety, just the single socket variety, with the exception of this area, which has these 2 fluorescent troffer fixtures. Very nice, lights up the place very well. And I haven't actually looked inside these yet to see what they are. I would assume, I think they're magnetically ballasted T12 because they do make a very soft humming. And I have no idea what we've got in here for bulbs or anything. You know what? Before we continue, I've never opened one of these up. We might as well do that and see what's inside these fixtures. If you've ever had these in your home and you've never had to open them up, they're pretty easy to do. You just find the 2 tabs and they swing down. Just like that. Oh, this one's got 2 bulbs out. I didn't even notice. These fixtures are nice in that it's, you know, they flush mount to the drop ceiling and stuff like that. But oh my goodness, are these ever hell getting bulbs in and out. These are the worst. I had to deal with getting bulbs in and out of these at my old job. Not fun. These suck balls for changing bulbs. Other than that, they're great, but what we appear to have in here are a set of Sylvania Super Savers, 34 watt, cool white. And they don't have the mercury symbol on them, which means these are from before 2002. So these bulbs are over 20 years old, and 2 of the 4 are still working. Pretty impressive. And I'm going to guess there's 2 magnetic rapid start ballasts in here. So I'll have to see about replacing these dead bulbs. It's just a waste of power to not have good bulbs in there, but leave the ballast still powered. Here's the other fixture, all 4 lamps still working. Same thing, they're all Sylvania Super Saver cool whites. I can see a date code for the fixture itself. 2000. 2000, and if I look at the lamps themselves, that one's got a date code of 2000. And the other 3 have date codes of 2001. So these must be the original lamps, which that's pretty amazing. That 22 years later, or 21 years later, I guess, 6 of the 8 original lamps installed in here, still working. It also tells us that this apartment was built in 2001, or at least that was when it was last updated. Very cool. Moving on to the kitchen area. Things are looking up here too. Look at this. I got a stove that's less than 50 years old. Amazing. It's got an electronic timer on it and everything. Range hood. Someone put a cool white CFL in there. I approve. Pretty sweet. Very nice. double sink. I've never had a double sink. I've always only had single sinks. Very nice. Put your dirty dishes in one spot and then move them to the other spot as you wash them. And yes, if I enjoyed doing dishes as much as I enjoyed vacuuming, this sink would be empty. Oh well, that's how it goes. The previous tenant installed this LED strip, and I like it very much. I just leave it turned on the lowest. It's got a little remote, which I've somehow lost, so I gotta find that, but I just leave it on the lowest setting 24/7. Looks very nice. And oh yes, the Sharp Carousel 2, my vintage convection microwave oven. This will be 40 in a couple of years and it's still working great. Of course, when I first got it, I had to repair the temperature sensor for the convection oven portion. And how long have I had this now? 2 years or so? That fix is still holding and this thing is still working perfectly. I love it. I was really bummed because I originally thought this wouldn't fit in this spot. I thought it was going to be too tall. But I was elated when I found out it fits with about ½ an inch to spare. So, yep, pretty happy with that. This is a vintage crock pot. It's from the mid or late 80s that I bought at a thrift store a while back. Haven't used it yet, but I hope to someday. Nice fridge. This fridge was made in 1998. A bit smaller than my last fridge, but it's big enough for me. I'm just one person. I've got my weather station all set up. The outdoor sensor is just outside the window. And of course this is a basement apartment. My last apartment was on a second floor, but we're in the basement this time, which is fine. It'll help keep it cool in the summertime. And geez, I should have made this video in the daytime. Maybe I'll wait until morning to get some extra shots, but every single room in this apartment has a view of the ocean. I live right on the ocean, and it's an amazing view out these windows during the daytime. So I'll have to give you guys a look at that. Kitchen table came with the place. Yes, it's a mess right now. Came with 2 of these chairs, which I really like, but unfortunately, my childbearing hips don't fit in them. They're these captain style chairs and that are enclosed on 3 sides, and yeah, I don't fit in them, unfortunately. So I gave one back to the landlady, switched it out with this chair. That's a vintage clock that I got quite a while back. I gotta make a video of it still, but that's where I've decided to mount it. I don't know if that's a great place. Maybe I'll move it somewhere else in the future. Not sure. And then the frog. He made it. This is like the 5th or 6th time that he's moved in his life. He's sitting on a vintage school desk that came with the apartment. Two vintage school desks came with the apartment. And comes very in handy. But there he is, just chilling. And yeah, so that's him. He's not even saying hi, but that's okay. We'll move on down the hallway. Yes, indeed, I have a hallway. This apartment's about twice as large as my old one. It's pretty great. And apparently, I'm sure this doesn't work anymore, but apparently this place originally had a Hoover central vacuum. Yeah, I'm sure this doesn't go anywhere anymore. But that's kind of interesting. We'll go in the bathroom here. Very nice bathroom. Now, maybe one of you guys can tell me this. This thing has a timer, a mechanical timer for the light, which also runs the bathroom fan. Very interesting. Does this indicate that there was originally a heat lamp here? Because the only bathrooms I've ever seen that had a mechanical timer like this had a heat lamp. And I haven't been in a bathroom with a heat lamp in at least 15 years, maybe close to 20 years. They're obviously not a thing anymore, really. But is this a sign that there was originally a heat lamp here? It's just a normal light and fan fixture now. But yeah, kind of interesting. I can't imagine why else there would be a timer here. Let me talk about these. So in addition to the overhead fixture, we've got a vanity fixture, very nice. And when I moved in, there was just one ordinary LED light bulb installed here with the other two sockets empty. I'm not sure why anybody would do that. But I didn't have any globe bulbs to use. I used to have a stock of Sylvania daylight incandescent globes, but that stock doesn't exist anymore. I used all those in the vanity fixture at Mum's house. So I didn't have anything proper to put here. I wanted to put something proper in, which is globe-shaped bulbs. And I wanted to be able to get something that made the room look nice, but also lit it properly, didn't, make it too bright or anything. And I found these at Walmart. They are 25 watt equivalent daylight colored LED bulbs, and they're perfect. They're the Great Value brand. No other brand sells bulbs like this. The best you could get with any brand was, if they offered daylight colored at all, it was in like 60 watts and above, which would just be way overlit. And nobody else offered 25 watt equivalents. It was 40 watts or up, and that was it. And yeah, Walmart's house brand had 25 watt equivalent daylight colored bulbs, a complete unicorn this type of bulb, but Walmart had it, by golly. And so I bought a pack. It was like 10 bucks American for the 3-pack. And I love these. They look great. They are the first LED bulbs I've ever willingly bought, only because I had nothing incandescent or CFL to go here that would have made the room look the way I wanted it to look. So yeah, I'm very happy with these. Light distribution is good. The LED quote-unquote filaments in them are quite large, so light distribution is good. Not too many shadowing going on. You can see a little bit of shadowing going on, but not too bad. And yeah, the color is great. They don't flicker. I love these. Highly recommend. I don't know who makes them. My guess is either GE or Sylvania. But yeah, these are great. I love them. The only thing I wish I could have done was get coated versions, but the 25 watt equivalent only came in clear. If I could have gotten 40 watt equivalent daylight in coated, but I didn't want that, and I'm glad I didn't get that because it would have been too bright, I think. So yeah, a little side note, extremely happy with these. They look very nice. Also, at first, I've never lived anywhere, aside from my residence in university, that had a stand-up shower. This is my first stand-up shower. And for someone relatively large like myself, it might seem too small, but actually I fit in here very comfortably. It's very nice. One piece fiberglass, so it's all very nice. When I showed pictures on social media, someone showed concern of there being the drop ceiling above the shower, that moisture could collect and, cause the drop ceiling to collapse. But, there's no staining or anything on these tiles, and everything looks and seems perfectly fine. So evidently it's not an issue. But yeah, very happy with this shower. Moving right along, let's talk about this since I'm right in front of it. This is what remains of my old computer desk, the big brown desk that I got when I lived back in Fredericton, moved it to my last apartment, and I planned on moving it and using it here too, but it is so enormous and so heavy that when I got it here and I tried to put it together, it was just so, you can't do it as a lone person. You need help. And it was already really like the proper hardware to put this desk together was already broken from the last time I moved it, and I had it all screwed together with wood screws, and it's just Swiss cheese now. I started to make an attempt to put it back together, and I said, you know what, this desk is so huge, so heavy, it looks awful. Not that I really care about that, but I'm just so tired of this. It's way too much for what I want to do, and really I couldn't even get it to fit in the where I wanted it to fit. So I'm like, you know what? It's time for this thing to go. I've had it for 5 years. It served its purpose. I used the heck out of it. I wore it out. And so yeah, I'm getting rid of this. Someone told me that they might want to pick it up and just chop it up and make a shelf out of it. I'm waiting to hear from them to see if they'll actually come pick it up. So right now it's just sitting here, 150 pounds of particle board. And yeah, so that's the story of that. End of the computer desk, but it served its purpose. Let's move on to the bedroom. So this apartment actually has 2 bedrooms. That there is actually the master bedroom. It is not being used as a bedroom. This room right here is where all the magic's gonna happen, and we'll talk about that. But first, this is the secondary bedroom, which I actually made into a bedroom. I don't need much in a bedroom. There's my bed, there's a dresser, and here's the closet with all my clothes and all my shoes and a box of toys and everything else. So there it is. This closet originally had doors on it. With the permission of my landlady, I took those doors off and they went into storage. So yeah, very nice. I've got a rogue drop ceiling tile up there. It's being held up by some wiring, some Romex that's keeping it from settling down. So I got to remove that tile and reseat it. But yeah, other than that, this is great. Perfect size. It's just able to fit everything I want to fit. And once again, like all the other rooms, we've got this window ledge. I love it. Got a little nightstand lamp there. Serves a purpose at night. I've got it on a dimmer, which I've sticky taped right there. And yeah, everything is awesome. That's a Westclock's alarm clock with a built-in night light. I should make a video of that someday. And yeah, there's that. And then finally, the last room. This is going to be an office space, a studio space, a lab space, a workshop type space. And everything you've seen so far is relatively finished. You know, it's all put together halfway decently. This room is not in that state yet. It is very much a mess. This is where most of my belongings are. And it is still in a state of chaos. Much more work needs to be done. But let's take a look. So this is where the magic's going to happen. It's going to be an office, it's going to be a workspace, and it's going to be a YouTube studio. And I'm very excited. There is so much more to do here, but I'm really excited with what I have planned to do. Got my shelf up already. I'm going to be getting another shelf. I'm not sure if it'll go here or if it'll go in this little closet nook type space. But there will be another shelf, and that'll help tidy things up a little bit. As you can see, I've made use of the drop ceiling again. This is an F40 T12 shop light I bought just a couple of days ago at the Restore, and I've already taped the video of getting this thing working. Checking it out, it came with some lamps. I reballasted it because of course I did, and I hung it up here. And it's extremely bright, and it's going to light up this table very nicely. And hanging up next to it is my Browning portal lamp, my 55-year-old vintage 12-volt fluorescent light fixture. I've got it all wired up and running into my Newmar 12-volt linear power supply. And that lights up this computer desk, which is new. This is a new piece of furniture. This desk is probably from the 1980s. It belonged to my aunt, and she was moving. She was the relative that I helped move. She was moving at the same time I was moving. And along with that coffee table in the living room, she offered this to me. And I said, heck yeah, and I took it. And my original plan was to have my old computer desk in this room to put my main computer on like it already was, and then use this desk to put a vintage computer on. But of course, because I'm getting rid of my old computer desk, that's not happening. So my main computer is now set up here. Yes, it's currently a mess like the rest of this room, because everything is still in a state of flux. But yeah, my main desktop computer setup is here. As you can see, I am going down to one monitor just because I can't get two monitors to fit on this desk. So I'm going down to one monitor, and I'm okay with that because a lot of my computing needs now are being served by the ThinkPad T440p out in the kitchen. You saw it on the kitchen table. Just because being out in the kitchen, it's more open, it's more airy, it's just a more calming space than the chaos that's going on in here. In a way, when I'm just casually computing, I almost prefer to be out in the kitchen on the ThinkPad rather than in here on this computer. But when I'm doing heavy duty stuff like video editing, that'll take place right here. But yeah, you got slide out tray, got my keyboard, got my mouse, and got my speakers set up again. I temporarily had this for my speaker setup. This is a realistic model STA 300 AM/FM amplifier. This was originally part of the White Trash Hi-Fi stack. The new receiver that I have now is what replaced this. V Westlife has one of these. His is branded Optimus. This is a very early example, which still has the realistic name, but most of these were branded Optimus. He has a video, one of these on his channel if you want to see what one of these is like. It's a very nice receiver from the early 90s. But anyway, this is here just temporarily. I'm going to swap this out for what I had before, which is this Optimus model SA155 little baby amplifier that Ava gave me. So that'll go back in this place and be running these speakers for the computers. I got the Mac Mini that Ava gave me right here. This Linksys WRT54G wireless router, best wireless router ever made. This is sitting here because I have internet here, but unlike my last apartment, I no longer need my own internet service. Internet's actually included here, which is fantastic. But I only have Wi-Fi available to me. So this router has DDWRT installed. It's a custom firmware, custom open source firmware for these routers and many other routers. But I have DDWRT installed on this, and I'm running it in a client bridge mode so that this thing receives the Wi-Fi that's available to me, and it pipes that through the RJ45 jacks. So stuff that I need plugged into Ethernet that I can't use over wireless, like my landline telephone modem that needs Ethernet, I can just plug that into this. Don't have my landline phones set back up yet. I'm able to, I'm just being lazy and I haven't done it yet. for now, my landline number just forwards to my cell phone, and I think my public landline number, my fax number, I think that's just going straight to voicemail right now. But I've got my Brother MFC 9600 multifunction printer here. Windows 10 quit supporting this a long time ago. It still works on the Mac. I'll have to try again and see if I can get it working under Windows. I quit using this for a while because I got my hands on a much newer Brother color inkjet printer, but I gave that to my mom, so now it's this guy with me again for my printing duties. So I haven't got it hooked back up yet, but I will eventually, and when I do get it hooked up, it'll be hooked up to the fax number as well, so if anybody wants to fax me, you can. So that's what's going on here. I've got my dad's old table radio here, the realistic MTA-8.
Reading or listening to music.
Tuned into Maine Public Radio. And yeah, there's probably a lot of toys that you're seeing here that I've never made videos of. Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff that I gotta make videos of. But that's the state of this room right now. Like I said, it is so far unfinished, in a great state of flux. Much work needs to be done, but this room is going to be a lot of things, and I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited to be in a 2-bedroom apartment where I have a spare room to do, you know, all my hobby stuff in, just because, you know, the last apartment was terrible. It was a mess. And it was a mess because it was not only like my living space, but it was my working space. Well, now I can have one room here for my working space, and everywhere else can be my living space. And I think it's just going to greatly improve my quality of life overall, being able to separate the two. So that brings us to the end of our tour for now, but not to the end of this video. Let me set you guys up, and I'll sit in my dad chair, and we'll talk about some other stuff before I go. So this is the part where I thank you guys, and not just for the patience. The rent for this apartment is more than double the rent of my old apartment, and I am thankful for all of the things that allowed me to be able to afford this apartment. First and foremost, you know, the complete change of career that I had 7 months ago, almost 8 months ago now. If it wasn't for the people and the circumstances that allowed that to happen, this wouldn't have happened. And so I am eternally grateful for those people and those circumstances. There are some things that helped balance it out. Electricity is included, internet is included. I was paying for all that stuff at the old place. My commute to work is now 5 minutes instead of 30 minutes, so I'm saving a bunch on gas. But still, that still leaves a lot of extra that I wouldn't have been able to afford if it weren't for those people, those circumstances, but also you people. Your support, your viewership, and your support through Patreon for those who choose to do that is in part what allowed this to happen. And I am so grateful to you guys as well, all of you, for being a part of that. My old apartment was not only half the size of this one and far less convenient in terms of its layout and its ability to put things and stuff like that. It was also very unhealthy, literally, to be in. The water there was not potable. You would get sick if you drink it. Or cook with it. And I did. I found that out the hard way. The water was not potable. Lots of mold. The windows were decades old, rotten window frames, very moldy. No ventilation. The bathroom, there was no bathroom fan in the bathroom. It was a very, very unhealthy place to live, and my landlord didn't give a fuck. He just did not care. He is a slumlord. When I told him that I was moving out, he threatened to charge me rent for December, which would have been illegal. But here in New Brunswick, we have protections for renters, but nobody's there to enforce them. So in New Brunswick, a landlord can be rogue and can illegally charge extra rent and can rent places that are not up to code, which my old apartment definitely was not, and they get away with it, and it enables them to keep doing it, and it encourages them to keep doing it, keep raking in the rent for these places that are legally not fit to live in, and that was the case with my old apartment. Now, if that said, I'm very thankful to have had my old apartment. When I moved into that apartment, I needed it. Well, I didn't need it. I was living with my mom at the time, but I like living alone, and my mom likes living alone. So it all worked out. But I am thankful for that apartment when it came up. It was affordable, nothing else was available, and it was safe. I had great neighbors, and it all worked out. But there were a lot of problems, and now I'm glad that I'm out of it, and I'm here. This apartment's amazing. It's big. I can drink the water. I don't have to go and buy jugs of water to drink and cook with anymore. Things aren't broken. It has a smoke alarm out in the hallway there. No smoke alarm in the old apartment. That is not up to code. And yeah, neighbors here are great too. I know my landlady personally, so that's really excellent. That's part of the reason why I got this place, so I'm really thankful to have had that connection as well. So yeah, I'm very thankful to be here. I'm thankful for all the people who created the conditions to allow me to be here, and that includes you guys watching, so thank you. I'm very thankful to the people who helped me move, Patrick and Vicky, who helped me move my large furniture, Mum, who has allowed me to store an enormous bunch of my stuff in her basement, which I still need to deal with. And yeah, lots of people helped me find this apartment. Lots of people helped me move, and I'm incredibly thankful for it. So, yeah, and once again, thanks for the patience while I got everything settled. Um, it's funny, what sort of delayed this video as well is that other stuff, in addition to all the craziness happening at work and everything going on, there were unexpected things that happened that sort of added to that as well. Shortly after I moved here, I set up my desktop computer and the SSD died. Now, to be fair, I'm the idiot who received the BIOS warning that my SSD had a smart error, or like a smart parameter had gone out of bounds. And, I had gotten the warning that the SSD was dying, and I chose to ignore it because the error was something to do with power on hours, but the SSD didn't have many power on hours. Anyway, the smart error must have meant something else because the SSD did die. Now, luckily, and I'm the idiot who didn't back up my files as well, but luckily, I got it to power on one last time, copied all my files off it, so we're all good there. And now I have two SSDs and a RAID 1 configuration for my boot drive in the desktop computer. It also means the desktop computer is running Windows 11 now, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. The next thing that happened was shortly after I moved, my phone bit the dust. My Samsung Galaxy S7. Just one day, I was eating supper at the kitchen table here. Suddenly, it just turned off, and it never booted up again. Now, when you turn it on, it says recovery booting at the top of the screen for a few seconds, and then a big blue screen that says no command with a dead Android logo shows up. And I did a bunch of research, and everything that I looked at concludes that basically that means the phone has suffered a hardware failure. So, yeah, right after the SSD of my desktop computer died, my phone bit the dust. So I've been using a Samsung Galaxy S4 flashed with Lineage OS, and I might make a video about what that experience was like. A 10-year-old, almost 10-year-old phone running modern Android through Lineage OS. It was Android 11. So I was using that phone. It's kind of funny because it was only 2 months ago that I got that phone. It was in the drawer of a desk we got at the TV station, and I formatted it, and it seemed to work fine. And I found out you can load Lineage OS onto it, and so I did, and it works. So that phone got me through after the S7 died. It was an interesting experience, and I might make a video about that just to talk about what that was like. But yeah, that happened, and now, just a couple of days ago, I received this. It's a Samsung Galaxy S10. I bought it off Amazon. Supposedly open box. I believe it. It looks brand spanking new. And this is the most beautiful phone I've ever used. This is a lot of phone. Going from an S7 to an S4 to an S10, this thing is amazing. $270 is what I paid for this, Canadian, and worth every penny. This phone is so great, and if it doesn't suddenly die like the S7 did, I don't see why this phone won't do me for the next half decade, if not longer. It's a great phone, and actually, the video about the shop light that I mentioned earlier, that was shot on this phone just to give it a try, and it's great. This is just the bee's knees. So yeah, new phone. Unfortunately, with my S7 having died, I have lost access to my Discord account forever. Discord wants you to use a weird two-factor authentication system in which you have to use an authenticator app on your phone. I chose to use Google Authenticator, which, unlike other apps like Authy, Google Authenticator is hardware tied to your phone. So the codes it generates are generated locally on the phone, and if your phone dies, that's it. You don't have access to that authenticator. Google Authenticator gives you a backup code to use in case that happens. I'm the idiot who didn't who didn't record that backup code. So my Discord account was tied to that. Phone is dead. I've lost access to my Discord account forever. And, there's no, contact Discord. No. I mean, that's the point of two-factor authentication. It's done. So luckily, I'm not a gamer. I used my Discord account very rarely. But it sucks that I lost it. Anyway, so that's another thing that happened. So that's everything that's going on. That's all I wanted to sit here and talk about. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I'm very excited to be living here. I think it's already a fantastic improvement to my life. It's great to have a normal living space. 'Cause it all, in my mind, it's always come down to, I'd had like maybe 2 visitors in my old apartment ever, just because it wasn't a place where I wanted to have visitors. At the end of the day, it all comes down to, would I be okay bringing a girl home? And with this apartment, the way it is right now, when I look at how this living room and everything's all set up, would I be okay bringing a girl home? Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy. This is going to be a great place to live, and I hope I'm here for a long time. And I'm excited. I'm so happy I could show you guys it today. I'm very happy for what that office room is gonna become. There's a lot more to do in that room still, but I'm very excited for what's to come here. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, thank you for being patient, and thank you for all the support. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are in part what helped make this happen. Oh, one more thing that I wanted to talk about before I leave you guys today. For the past several years, I have always pushed for people to follow me on Twitter. It is the best way to see what I'm doing between YouTube videos, what projects I'm working on, new fun things I've acquired, what videos I'm working on at present, if any, all the stuff that you see here on YouTube, just in a much more frequent and much more digestible form. I highly recommend it. Tooting my own horn, of course. But as you guys probably know, whether or not you use Twitter, in the past, for the past, month and a half, Twitter has been in a state of instability. It came under new ownership. The new ownership, in the opinion of myself and many other people, is proving to be incompetent. And it is a lot of people's belief that Twitter may cease to exist in the near future. I'm not sure about that, but at the very least, whether or not it ceases to exist, Twitter has become a much more toxic place than it used to be. And it's been going that way for a few years. Facebook became that place back in the mid 2010s, and now Twitter is sort of slowly becoming that place. Even before it came under new ownership, I've noticed over the last few years that there was an increasing tolerance for hate speech and attacks against minority groups and stuff like that. Twitter used to be really good about handling that stuff, but over the past few years, they've slowly regressed to a point where they're now like Facebook, where they just blatantly allow hate speech on the platform. And that's become especially more so the last month and a half. So I have done what a lot of people have chosen to do, and I'm very glad I've done it. I've moved to another microblogging service. It's called Mastodon, and you may have heard of it, but not know what it is. Or if you're not a Twitter user, you just may not know or care what it is to begin with. But Mastodon is a microblogging service. It works very similarly to Twitter, but on the back end, it's extremely different. It's very cool in how it works. Mastodon, first of all, is it's not a company like Twitter, and it's decentralized, which means unlike Twitter, which has a data center that stores everything and it's just one central thing, Mastodon is actually many, potentially infinite, an infinite number of decentralized servers that each run their own instance of the Mastodon platform. And all of these decentralized instances communicate with each other to allow for a global network like Twitter has. But each user, you as a Mastodon user, you get to choose what instance you make your account on. Each instance is run by a different individual or a different group. Each Mastodon instance has its own set of rules. So it's very individualized and very personalized. Each Mastodon instance might be geared towards a different group, but at the end of the day, all the instances can communicate with each other, unless you're a rogue instance of Mastodon, like if a Nazi group makes a Mastodon instance, All the other instances they call it defederate from them, meaning they disconnect from that instance so that the post made on that instance doesn't, come across other people's timelines and stuff. It's very cool. Anyway, I go through all this to say that I am in the process of moving to Mastodon. I made an account about a month ago. I am enjoying it very much. I joined the instance called mastodon.lol. It's an instance that's run by an LGBT person, and it sort of advertises itself to LGBT people, and especially LGBT techie people. So I'm enjoying it very much. Lots of people that I follow on Twitter are also on Mastodon, so I followed them on there. Presently, I am parallel posting between Twitter and Mastodon, but I think I'm going to slowly go towards discontinuing my use of Twitter. My mental health has been much better since using Mastodon to get all my news and get all my updates on friends rather than through Twitter, who uses algorithms to push, outrageous news. Twitter and Facebook, they're all designed to spark outrage because that's what drives views and clicks and stuff like that, whereas Mastodon doesn't. Mastodon's all open source software, and it's designed to work the way Twitter and Facebook worked 15 years ago, where you just see stuff from newest to oldest and nothing is algorithmized, and it's very nice, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And all the crappy hate speech and stuff that's starting to flourish on Twitter, just like it did on Facebook, because it allows that stuff, there's none of that there. So anyway, if you follow me on Twitter, please consider following me on Mastodon. Consider using Mastodon. I'm liking it a lot. It's very cool. If you don't follow me on Twitter or Mastodon, consider checking out Mastodon and maybe following me there if you want. It is the best way to see what I'm doing between videos. I post there a lot, very frequently. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say before I go. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you here in the videos to come. I'm going to leave you today with some shots I took just across the street here. The views of the ocean. It's so beautiful here. And I'll leave you with some shots of that. So thank you, and I'll see you later.